Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge. In today's episode, yell at me and my staff. Fine, good luck running the office on your own. A kid told me I was too fat and too old to understand handball, so I stopped holding back. You scared me with one of my biggest fears, so I made you go face to face with yours. Before we get into today's episode, remember to subscribe so you never miss a video. So let's get started. Yell at me and my staff. Fine, good luck running the office on your own. I used to work in a small family-owned doctor's office. A couple of years in, they got a legal fight and experienced staff started leaving. Being young and dumb, I wanted to be loyal and ended up managing half of the doctor's office. The other half was managed by Bratty. She had a team of 3 that did the work of 6. The company got bought, and a new owner came in. He was like Danny DeVito in gold chains and a bad toupee. He was dumb and no one respected him. He screamed constantly, about little things, at anyone. He micromanaged and didn't bother to understand someone's job before telling them how to do it better. He tried to streamline processes without knowing how they worked. But mostly, he yelled. One day, the hardest working person in the entire clinic, a nurse who started every appointment, was a few minutes late. She was a single mother and her kid was sick, so she showed up less than 10 minutes later than usual. Danny proceeded to berate the nurse in front of the entire office, scream about dumb things like being a few minutes late, then strange things like how she wrote dates, then absurd things like how her bedside manner sucked. She had gotten flowers the day before from a patient because she was so good. When the nurse put in her notice at the end of the day, Danny fired her on the spot. Told her to leave and never come back. I had been job searching, and had actually gotten an offer. I was planning on giving a lot of notice but couldn't give notice if I'd be fired immediately. I had student loans and was paycheck to paycheck. I grabbed the 2 remaining members of the admin staff and explained that I was going to quit without notice before too long. Bratty understood, and said she too was in the final stages of taking a new job. We agreed that we would quietly all find new jobs, then duck out when it was convenient. We had to quietly let all the other staff know, and each of us quietly started smuggling our personal effects out of the office. I had a start date 2 weeks out, but honestly couldn't give notice without risking my financial health. A week or so later, Danny started screaming about the color of tape I'd used to duct tape down a power cable months before. I had used orange and yellow to make it more visible, but Danny said that was unprofessional. I asked him how he'd like me to fix it. Danny, well, that's not my problem. That's yours. I paused for a second and said, me, you know, I don't think it is my problem. I'm out. I grabbed my small box of desk things as Danny howled at me. Danny, you will never find another job in this town. I own every doctor's office in this county. I don't need you, since I've got Bratty. Bratty looked at him and said, Bratty, I'd been meaning to tell you that today is my last day. We packed our things and walked out, as Danny called the cops saying his employees were stealing things like their own birthday cards and pictures of their kids. We texted the 3rd employee, who was on lunch, and explained what happened. It sounds like she didn't go back. And without front desk, billing, or nursing staff, a doctor's office simply can't run. I'm told they were closed for almost 2 weeks before they got temporary employees, but had no one to train them. Danny shuttered and resold the business a few months later to the big dog in the industry, which is a charity. Since their books are open, we saw that they bought the company, really just the clients list, for about 15% less than what Danny had paid a few months prior. You scared me with one of my biggest fears, so I made you go face to face with yours. Okay, so my cousin is a prankster. She likes telling jokes and one of her favorites is during the holidays, she likes to tell me my uncle, her dad, is coming to pick me up. If I'm being honest, my uncle is not a nice man. He yells at me and everyone for everything. He lies about people to make them look bad and him look good. He makes fun of me for being overweight. He's very verbally abusive. It's gotten to the point where I've pretty much gray rocked him, which is basically no contact. And her favorite prank is telling me that he's coming to pick me up to take me to family gatherings, which I usually avoid going to if he's there. And 2 hours in the car with him? That's literally hell. So, a couple weeks ago, she lied and told me he called and was gonna come pick me up for my birthday. I felt like I was having a panic attack. I remember crying, hyperventilating. I was pacing back and forth trying to figure some way out of it. And yes, visiting him is just that bad. She started laughing. I told her that's not funny. She knows how I feel about that man. She said, "Don't you feel better now that you know he's not actually coming?" I haven't forgotten that. It's been 2 weeks, I've had enough of that prank. I wanted to prank her, to kinda get her back. I remembered her biggest fear. Clowns. She's been scared to death of clowns since she was a kid. So, I had a friend, that's over 6 feet tall, dress up in a scary-looking clown suit. I told her I got a free dinner for 2 coupon for my birthday to her favorite restaurant and wanted to share it with her to bait her. We left and I had my clown in place. The plan was to stop on the middle of this old rural road and stop the car at a specific spot where my friend was hiding. Everything went to plan. My friend parked his old junk car in the ditch on the side of the road. I stopped and said we need to check it out, see if they need help. While she's looking in it and looking around for the owner, I sneak back to my car. My clown runs out of an old barn and straight for us. She saw him, froze and started screaming. She ran to my car but I sped off before she could get in. I didn't abandon her, I just drove over a hill to where she couldn't see me from where the old car was and watched in my rearview mirror. She tried running with the clown chasing her, screaming for help. He caught up to her and she got on her knees and started crying. He laughed and revealed it was a joke. I drove back and started laughing with him. She told me that wasn't funny and I repeated what she told me, the "don't you feel better" line. She screamed and yelled the whole car ride at me, that I could've scared her to death. I told her that's how I feel when she tells me about my uncle. A kid told me I was too fat and too old to understand handball, so I stopped holding back. Last week I, 50F, was told by a 12-year-old boy I was too fat and too old to understand handball. I watched him play with the other kids for a bit, and he was a complete ass about it all. He deliberately taunt the younger kids, promised them he wouldn't get them out, then send devastatingly fast balls at their heads and point and laugh when they got out. He changed the rules so he never got out and blatantly cheated. I inserted myself into the game. He was very condescending and promised to go easy on me. I smashed that ball all over the court. Low shots, high shots, balls with spin. He didn't stand a chance. The best bit was, after I got him out for the 4th time, all the other kids cheered. I spent the rest of the afternoon teaching the younger kids how to play while he sulked in the corner. Petty AF and immature as hell, but super satisfying to see him get his comeuppance. Yes, I'm a terrible person, but he was much nicer to the other kids the next day. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and we'll see you in the next video.